Hi, I'm Tom Savini, and you're watching Without Your Head. But why?
That'll work. So we are live now here, the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal.
I'm Treacherous, Trista.
Great. And we have a plethora of guests because it's Sick and Wrong week here on the show. It'll be Sick and Wrong week next week when Sick and Wrong Film Festival happens. And he's going to tell us about that right now. So,
yeah, hey, I'm Steven Stull. I am the creator of the Sick and Wrong Film Festival. This is our 5th year, but because, 2020 has been such a flaming dumpster full of shitty diapers, we had to go online. This is the first time that we've done that. But the whole festival is going to run online starting July 6th. That's Monday. It's going to run all the way through July 12th. That means that the model that we took is that all the movies are going to be available for you right from the start. So starting Monday morning, you can start watching all the movies if you want. They're going to be available on demand Monday through Sunday. There's also too many live streaming events going on during the festival that I have lined up. I'm going to be talking with a lot of filmmakers, doing Q&As over their movies, and also some other live fun stuff going on. Real fast, if you don't mind, Neal, I want to just throw out to anybody listening right now, if you're interested in checking it out, all the information, you can go to sickandwrongfilm.com. That's sick, the letter N, wrongfilm.com. And if you decide you want to buy a pass to the festival because you're a fan of Nasty Neal's, I'm going to give you a 25% discount. Use the code HEADLESS. Just lowercase headless, one word. Use that as a discount code when you're checking out for your pass. You get 25% off.
Oh, awesome.
Because I love you.
Well, thank you. I love you as well. And Trista just met you, so I'm sure she will love you eventually.
Some time.
It takes a little time, yeah. There's no rush.
I do like the title of just the creator of Sick and Wrong. The festival part is cool too, but you can just keep.
Yeah, I saw. I don't know. The first time I ever saw one of those. I don't know. For people out there who haven't been to film festivals, a lot of film festivals have these like semi-secret midnight movie blocks that they run late at night. It's all these weird fucked up movies. And the first time I saw one of those blocks at a big festival, I thought, oh my god, why isn't there a whole festival full of this stuff?
Right. This is the secret midnight festival for a week.
This is it. We got a whole festival full of this shit. It's our tagline, my big mission statement, my philosophy is aggressively bizarre. That's what we're looking for.
Nice. So let's introduce some of the people here. I'm not even
sure so I can stop talking
here, and we even have more people coming on.
Well, I know I've met some of these people. I don't know. Let's going on my screen here. How about Brock? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey there. My name is Brock Cravy. I am the writer and director of Innocent Boy, and out here in Texas.
Very good.
Awesome. And how about Jorge?
Hello. I'm Jorge Torres. I have film here, Night of the Rumpus, and no, Steven, thanks for everything. Pleasure. Great.
Jorge has one of our feature films. Oh, you're in New York.
Nice.
Sorry. Jorge's film Night of the Rumpus is a feature, by the way. We have, I'm sorry, I just don't want Dan to talk is all that I want.
Please.
We have 4 features and then 10 shorts blocks. So, that's it. Sorry.
No worries.
Dan.
I probably should have asked that to begin with. But Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan Kofoed. I did New Year's Kiss short film in the trigger warning block. I don't know why it's in the trigger warning block or why it's in Sick and Wrong. I mean, this is a classy romance in the French style. It's a little bit new wave, a little bit surrealism. But it's got a little over a gallon of vomit in it. It's a just real touching, tender romance film.
It's always what I look for in my romance.
For everybody,
Not just in movies, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically Portrait of a Lady on Fire, just like in a short version, right? Like
it's a beautiful, heartfelt film. 36 hours of pure filmmaking passion condensed into 7 minutes and some seconds of screen time. I don't know how it even managed to trick this gentleman into putting it into his festival. It
Have you
seems
seen the other movies?
I've seen a few of them, actually, yeah.
So that is weird being in the trigger block. I wasn't prepared for a content warning at Sick and Wrong.
Yeah. I'm trying to tell people to check out my film, and I'm like, oh, yeah, so this is the festival of, like, all the worst stuff you would see at my film festival, and I'm in the only program where they give you a warning beforehand.
Yeah.
So,
You're in the midnight block of the Midnight Festival.
so yeah, it's gonna be a real good show.
Michael.
Hello, I'm Michael Fausti, and I really wish I had put some vomit and romance in my film, but I forgot.
There's a touch of romance. I think there's a little soupçon of romance.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I made Exit, one of our feature films showing at Sick and Wrong. And yeah, I'm from the UK, as you can probably hear.
I can, yeah. Oh, well, unless it was a fake accent, just a sound.
Quite a poor fake accent.
Ezra.
Hi, that's me.
Hello.
This is Laura. I was a producer on the movie Strange Bird. I'm also in it, getting blood vomited on my face, which I'll tell you more about later, possibly.
Spoiler alert!
Everyone's sharing their blood vomit.
That's like the climax of the movie.
Sorry, it's ruined.
Most of the movie. My name is Lee Bahr. I'm the writer, and I'm a co-writer. It was written with horror author Chris Kelso, who's Scottish, and he is going to be on with me when we do the Q&A. The Q&A.
Okay.
And he was really the impetus because he came up with the concept, and yeah. So we wrote that together, and then
got the hell out of LA.
Got the hell out
of LA for 20 years, and now we're in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So am I.
Oh, nice. Right. What town?
I'm on the Cape.
Oh, nice.
Sandwich.
Cool.
Yeah. Most people don't know where that is.
Yeah, no idea what you guys are talking about.
Or even know that
he
it's
looks
real.
like yeah.
Where are you guys actually en masse?
Brockton, City Champions.
Very good. Much more happy about it than I am. Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh Copeland. I'm the writer-director of the short Serious Matters in the Middle of the Night, which I'm very proud is playing in the Hepped Up on Goofballs section of the Sick and Wrong Fest.
What are the names of all the blocks?
Okay, all right. It's so funny. Like, you have this idea about what kind of blocks you want to program when you watch one movie or when you go into the festival, when the submissions start. But generally, the blocks always come out of the submissions, right? Like, one year we had a block where for some reason it was just like I had close to an hour of movies that were all about pregnancy and weird things coming out of pregnant women and things like that. So it was nice to throw a block together like that. This year I had some interesting trends pop up. For instance, Josh mentioned the Hepped Up on Goofballs block. I had a bunch of movies that came through that sort of centered on substance abuse or substance abuse adjacent subjects. So I picked a dumb Simpsons reference to name the drug block after. Let's see, two of these guys here, Dan and Brock, they're both in the trigger warning block. I think you saw some of these movies, Neal.
Yeah, Trista
normally, yeah, and Trista, sorry. Normally, Sick and Wrong does not have any kind of warning block unless, I don't know, there's a photosensitive epilepsy danger or something like that. Usually we don't put any warnings up on anything. But I just happened to get a block, a bunch of movies that covered content that, like, I don't know, I'm kind of jaded after 5 years of running the festival. I don't think anything really affects me, but I watch it with my partner and I show it to the judges and they're like, whoa. So when they react, then I say, okay, well, this is something special. We're gonna put together a special block of movies that hit a lot of hot button stuff that are probably gonna push some deep personal buttons on people. And Dan, by the way, I have like 7 of the 10-ish movies I've made feature very prominent vomit scenes. So I had to have my partner and judges inform me that your movie was actually triggering to people because I'm just dead to it. Like, doesn't matter. I expect vomit. Like if there was a full-on vomit scene in an episode of, The Sweet Life on Disney Channel, it wouldn't faze me a bit.
I don't want to say too much because
episode.
you don't want to give anything away.
But too much away.
There's certain moments that definitely, when you see it with an audience,
So
they get very vocal.
So the blocks that we have, what do we got? There's I recommend people start. There's a block called Welcome to Sick and Wrong. That's kind of like just a survey course of all the Sick and Wrong, like what Sick and Wrong is all about. It's going to hit all the different, I guess, emotions that Sick and Wrong is going to evoke. Then all the others are specialty blocks. Like we mentioned the trigger warning block, the hepped up on goofballs block. We got the girl problems block because I had a lot of films like by women and centering on women. Specifically, like I got a movie in there about a insufferable prick on a date, and a woman dealing with that. And then we got a couple of period movies, and I thought they made a nice block together. And we have
not period pieces like the 1700s.
No. Period, like menstruation. Just to be clear, I have a few menstruations.
Someone missed the chance to make a period piece, though.
There we go.
Hey,
Just full of ideas here.
Someone's next movie.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds fantastic. We did get a stop motion period movie, so that's really exciting. That's a fun one. What are the blocks we have here? I have 2 horror blocks. One is like a more straightforward scary horror because there's some really scary stuff in there. That's called the Room 237 block. And then there's horror adjacent, horror comedy, I guess. I called that the Scary Door block. How many of these have I covered? There's every year I like to put together like the bad trippiest list of animated movies and call that my Saturday morning cartoon block. Last year we actually played those, on Saturday morning when the festival was live and brought out cereal and gave all the attendees cereal. And we all ate Fruit Loops and watched fucked up cartoons on Saturday morning. That was a lot of fun. So that's not going to happen exactly this year, but I recommend watching them on Saturday morning with some sugary cereal. I had a block of movies called the Family Matters block that is centered on like dysfunctional families and family problems. And then 2 more. The bodily functions block is all about the various disgusting fluids and stuff that falls out of human bodies. That's a fun one. And then the last block is kind of, I don't want to say favorite because I really love all the movies. Every one of these movies is here because I love it. That's the great thing about, like, for the most part, running a fest by yourself is, sucks. It's tough. But because it's my thing, I get to I handpick every movie that goes in the festival. And I'm really happy about that. There's what's become a tradition is the deep end block, which is not necessarily the grossest or the most violent or the most upsetting, but just the absolute weirdest movies in the festival. I don't know, like it's the real essence of uncategorizable, I think. So the deep end block is one that I recommend that you watch when you're thoroughly sleep deprived and in a suggestible kind of post-hypnotic state was probably the best case. So those are the shorts blocks.
Yeah. And the features are they in a specific block or how are they?
No, the features are kind of standalone. I don't know. I didn't want to. I don't know. I don't really know how. I would have packaged them like if the whole fest were live and everything were happening in sequential order, I would put them in a place where it made thematic sense. But since each shorts block is roughly an hour and a half, and each feature is roughly an hour and a half, so I just kind of left them all on an even field there. But we do have 4 features, 2 of which are represented right now. We have Night of the Rumpus and Exit, and then there's 1,000 Kings, and oh god, I don't want to feel like an asshole. Oh yeah, Barney Berman's Wild Boar.
I've seen that movie actually. Yeah, I've had Barney on the show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
He's going to come and do a Q&A. He might be here tonight. He might be in the waiting room right now. I don't know. But that's a fun movie.
Yeah,
really excited
like
about these features. Yeah.
Very cool. So let's see. For Brock and Dan, since you guys are in the trigger warning block, was it hard to get people to be in those films?
Yeah,
No, not at all. So our film was actually a competition film, so they were already on the hook, and we're absolutely gung-ho for it. The hard thing that we had was the real vomit didn't work, so we had to use the fake vomit, but we told everybody we were going to use real vomit. So then we couldn't convince people that we actually had used the fake vomit because the real vomit didn't look good on camera. But we actually had one of the actors, she actually did do the real vomit.
Now, was it her vomit or?
But it didn't work.
Okay.
Yeah. We actually we tried it, and it just, you can't act when you're throwing up. And you can't get a lot of volume.
I'll take your word for that. Yeah.
And you can't really control it, so it's a bad idea visually.
I think it's probably a bad idea for other reasons.
And you can't really do it over and over again if you need to take a lot of takes. And so we ended up using the fake vomit. And then when we were showing it to people, we were joking about how we'd used real vomit. Uh-huh. So that nobody believed us when we finally confessed that we hadn't. So that was the hard part. But it was fun for the actors because one of them, she got to vomit on me as the director, so she thought that was a blast. I guess that was a bit of a pun there. Everyone was gung-ho. Absolutely. It's just one of those things. You don't really have time. It was a 36-hour challenge, and you just kind of have to go with the idea that you have. So, I mean, there's no time to second guess or any of that. So.
How about Brock? Was it hard to get people involved in Innocent Boy?
Yes, it was. It was really hard. Our script was filled with vomit and urine and breast milk and blood and nudity and gay cowboy sex and so particularly the role of Gabriel, who plays the young guy that wets himself and dies. Excuse me, I'm sorry, that's a spoiler alert. That was really difficult because we had to lay him on the counter and then run this tube through his right through his underwear, up through the crack of his ass and underneath his penis to create this effect that was realistic, that he was urinating himself from in an overdose scene. And so presenting that to a bunch of actors, it was no. And so that became pretty difficult to get someone that would play that scene. But Saul Vasquez, he's a model in Texas, and he was very willing, and he did a great job. Negotiating nudity was new for me. We brought in Cami Bruder from Los Angeles, and we had to, I guess I basically had to convince his agent that we weren't going to go too rough on him. And they sent me diagrams of a human body, and I basically with the doll point where the camera will look at, you know, and so I had to like circle all the areas, and I was negotiating like pubic hair and like the top of the pant line and like the shirt off, and I'm like, that was really new for me. And then another challenge was finding someone that would play the role of Penny, which was a young black trans boy. And so that is a difficult role because that is still an emerging talent. You know, young, trans, person of color, open, willing to do these type of scenes, especially with the subject matter. So I had trouble casting, but I am so pleased with who we got. They did a fantastic job. Every one of them was phenomenal. We won a ensemble cast award, so I'm really proud of that.
Yeah. I get to see Innocent Boy at South Texas Underground Film Festival earlier in the year before everything, you know, went to hell. But yeah, they actually showed it twice because they were big fans of the movie, Marielle and Robert Perez. And, yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah, they showed it twice, and I saw the new cut. It is a different cut than the one I saw.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That is the cut that has been distributed and released. And we have a couple new scenes. We changed some music, and I'm real pleased with it. Twice, that's great. You know, I heard we won the Elvis Award, which was the 10-year-old voice.
Yeah, like, Elvis was my cameraman for the weekend. So there's a lot of strange zoom ins and outs during the interviews, but he's amazing. Elvis is the man.
I was like, "There's kids watching this," and then it just reminded me. My dad used to let me rent anything I wanted and watch it again. So that was pretty cool. A little 10-year-old picked that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Elvis is great. I did not know that it actually won the Elvis Award. So very good.
Yeah, I had to like write Robert. And I was like, "What is the Elvis Award?" He's like, my young son liked your movie. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm glad he did.
Yeah. Jorge, I have not seen your movie, I don't believe. So I wish you would like to talk a little bit about it.
Oh, yeah. It's a collaboration with this. Just a collaboration with my childhood friend. I've been making documentaries and horror films for a while, and then he just had this crazy idea, and this was sort of a weird no script, go at it, kind of like sending notes on like through text and improvising, and then still having like the sort of structure of, you know, of a classic sort of creature, just, you know, chud. Lovely film, and and we just improvised through it during the time of the Wild Rumpus, which is this festival a week before Halloween in Athens, Georgia, and I really like to shoot sometimes during events. I made this film called Fat Tuesday, and I shot it during Mardi Gras back in the other time of, you know, the other era, and just shot through New Orleans Mardi Gras, real Mardi Gras with characters, and this girl's like killing off her friends. So we were trying to like do that kind of stuff with Wild Rumpus in Athens, Georgia. This is what we ended up with, and it's probably the most like, you know, sincerely childish, lovely thing I've just enjoyed doing with my friend Dane Marks. Yeah.
Well, other than it, Rumpus makes me think of Where the Wild Things Are. So I don't know if there's any connection or not.
Yeah, there's definitely not a connection, but yeah, it's just a festival. Oh, actually, I don't. This is how, since the film is made through documentary stuff, I actually got this information of the guy that started the Wild Rumpus Festival. Was he actually had a, you know, Where the Wild Things Are costume, and
really
started bar crawling. So, you know, thank you so much for, you know, just unglitching there and my mind. But yeah, and it's actually mentioned in the film, which is really funny. So I totally and so yeah, no, it is kind of connected to that to a certain degree, and then it goes into a docu-schlocky kind of territory.
Mariella brings up Perez from. She says that Jorge makes beautiful films, and she also says that Elvis snuck into the theater to see Innocent.
Yeah.
What made you decide The Sick and Wrong would be a good festival to submit to?
Well, I've made documentaries about orphan children, and I've made horror films, and I never tapped into this side. And this film just basically is very different than all the other work I've done, but it comes after doing like over almost like a dozen revisions of franchises, just taking franchises and edited them into a single film cleanly and color corrected, like Phantasm and Evil Dead revision and just all these. And that sort of led me into this place with Night of the Rumpus, which actually puts me in this territory where Sick and Wrong is kind of like it's very specific. You know, I've gone to Slam Dance and other festivals in Cannes and stuff like that, and Sundance, but there's a completely, from Fantasia to Fantastic to, to Sick and Wrong, there's all these, those have gotten more commercial, but they did this job of like unearthing these gems are always there. They're just always in and out. They're just uncovered,
Yeah, and this for everybody, but like you're saying there, I always one of the appeals to me for festivals, a lot of movies play at them that might not necessarily fit into one specific category. Like you said, it's documentary, but it's also, these films could be, what are they exactly? Are they horror? Are they underground? What is an underground movie?
Transgressive at heart, definitely. In a very progressive, I don't know how to, it's the transgressive that we need to keep to maintain a distance of some sort between genre and, I don't know, it's just needed, those extremes. And I think just hearing Steven talk about the whole roster is like, it's crazy because it's just mind-bending.
Mm-hmm. Now, Michael also made a feature, Exit. So talk about what people get to see when they see Exit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we made Exit nearly, 2 years ago now. And it was kind of written against the background of, you guessed it, Brexit. And funny enough, at the time we were kind of writing it, we thought, well, this will all be over by the time this film actually comes out. And I think literally we left the European Union, the UK did about 2 days ago. So there you go, highly topical. The film was shot in about 7 days, and it's about two couples who double book in an apartment in London, and then sex, drugs, murder, I'm trying to avoid spoilers, all then kind of sort of like kick off. And we didn't ever really want to come down on one side or the other because the whole Brexit debate has been fairly toxic over here. So we didn't really want to kind of be too sort of judgmental, and we didn't really want to sort of preach at the audience. So there's also something of a kind of sort of trippy, dreamlike feel to the whole movie, which you can either see as a dream or a nightmare.
Michael,
I did see Exit, so I was,
Oh, sorry.
I said I did see Exit, and I really liked it, and I liked the contrast of the two couples.
Oh, thank you.
Which I did not know was about Brexit because I'm not very smart.
We didn't really want to hit the audience over the head with it.
Yeah.
But you got one couple who are French and one couple who are English. But it's also about social class as well. Another great British obsession with the English couple being very much a working class couple, and the French being seen as this kind of aspirational sort of middle class couple.
Mm-hmm. Where did you shoot that?
It was all pretty much shot in London. So we shot the interiors in West London. And then the exteriors is, it's all shot in North London at a building which is one of the oldest schools in the UK. And it's about 500 years old, but it just kind of tied in with that idea of this kind of like place in which people get trapped and are stuck in the past. And, the exterior, I think, really sort of fitted what we wanted to do.
Stephen, is it harder to pick which features you're going to play? Because, just time-wise?
Yeah. So the submission period for Sick and Wrong this year ended at the end of March. And at that time, of course, I still had, well, not at the end of March, but like by the time the middle of March was rolled by, I still had it in my head that we were going to have a live festival. And the biggest limiting factor of my lineup is the time I have in the venue, right? That's the most expensive thing is finding time in the venue. So I had kind of everything sort of whittled down to, as tight as I could make it. And then the fucking pandemic hit and everything went to shit. And by the time I got back to looking at the program, I was able to kind of, the language here is tricky because the truth is, okay, let me make it clear. Every single year, the Sick and Wrong, even the first year, and I was baffled that this happened because I didn't think anybody would submit the first year, but every single year that Sick and Wrong has happened, I have had to reject movies that I wanted because we just didn't have time for it. I couldn't afford, if I could afford 11 days in a venue, if I could afford a theater for 11 days, shit, yeah, I would take everything. But every year so far, I've had to cut stuff. This time around, when we made the move to online, I had already had kind of overbooked myself for a live event. And so part of me was kind of happy that we would go online because then, great, there's no more time restrictions. I can just say, here, let's open the movies up for a week and then I can have 25, 30 hours of movies and there's no problem with that. The problem was this time around, and everything is totally new. I have no idea what I'm doing. I may look like an adult, but I'm fucking faking it. The problem that I ran into was that there were several movies that had to pull out because they had signed distribution agreements that didn't allow for online play. And I understand that. I don't hold any grudge against these people. I would never try to come between a filmmaker and their distributor. It's you got to do what you got to do. I do want to mention, and I tried to mention this before, that the platform we're using has like multiple DRM protection on it. So you guys should not fear piracy just because your movie's going to be playing online. But besides that, anyway, that was a factor. I lost some movies that I really, really wanted to play just because they had these distribution agreements. And I mean, I'm not mad. I'm just sad. I don't hold anything against. In fact, some of the Sicky nominees had to pull out because they were in these agreements. And I promised them that they would stay in the considerations, in the judging considerations, and they absolutely did. And I don't want to give anything away, but I'll be able to back up that claim during the awards ceremony on Sunday the 12th.
Yeah. By the way, not just because you're here, but it's like the best trophy I've seen. Anytime someone's on who talks about the pretty awesome.
Well, here, I'll be right back. Talk to Laura and Ezra.
Laura and Ezra. You guys want to talk about your movie?
Yeah. First of all, it's so exciting hearing about everyone's movie. I'm so excited for this festival. It's awesome. My first debut feature film was named Boned. It's distributed on a number of platforms, and it's unromantic comic noir. And after making that movie and the whole process of the feature and, all that goes into that, I was kind of off movies for a little while. I was like, I don't know if I want to do another. And Chris Kelso came up with this idea, and then I was like, I don't know. And then we were like, okay, we'll do it. We'll make a movie this short if we can do it completely differently than any way that we've made a movie before. Meaning, we wanted to do it in a much more kind of intuitive way. We wanted to do it for as little money as we possibly could. And we wanted to do it guerrilla style. And we wanted to do it with the smallest crew we could possibly get. And we wanted to do it in a way that made us feel like real artists, that made us feel like we are going to just make this thing that feels right instead of something that, clicks boxes none of my stuff clicks boxes anyway, but we just wanted to really make something that felt completely different from anything we'd done before, and something that felt very dreamlike and weird, and it was inspiring to us to make in a way that, in a different sort of filmmaking process. So using that kind of weirdness as our template, we had mostly a 4-person crew with others, but we really had this very small, minimal crew, and we shot over 2 weekends. We had to do the second weekend because one of my producers suddenly had to have kidney surgery. So if you see Ezra's performance in there.
My performance is a full-on kidney stone agony-ridden performance. Speaking of sick and wrong.
I hope you're doing okay.
Fine now.
I will say that, being whatever sort of person I am, I was like, we're scheduled to shoot this weekend. We have to still keep going.
I would be up in the bed. I'd be like, Ezra, it's your time to be on camera. I'm like, need 10-15 minutes.
And like he's like moaning in the bathroom, ready to faint. We're like, ah!
And we're all laughing now. But yeah.
What a diva.
Yeah. So we really, for us, the whole process of, we knew that this wasn't going to be a movie for everyone. But what we hoped is that people would, when they started to watch this movie, realize like, oh, I'm settling in for something that's different. That's a different sort of experience than the sort of narrative style that we've become used to as modern cinemaphiles. So we were trying to create something very much like a nightmare.
Yeah.
One of the things, if you don't mind, I'm sorry, I want to jump in real fast. One of the things that I really gravitate toward when I'm watching the submissions is movies that don't do any spoon feeding, right? Movies that don't hold your hand and explain everything that's happening in them, so that you walk out of them knowing, having a complete understanding. And I just want to bring it up right now because we have on the screen at the moment a collection of a lot of filmmakers who kind of exemplify like their movies, like Laura and Ezra's movie, and Josh's movie, Jorge and Michael. Everybody here, like, their movies don't spell anything out for you. Like, they have to sit in your brain and kind of roll around in there after you're done watching them, and that's very crucial to me as a film goer. That's what I love, and that's what I love to put up on the screen. So she just made me think about that. I think you succeeded. At least I think so.
Thank you. And then when I was looking through, because it was such a different sort of movie, I was like, well, I don't know who's gonna want this.
Well, it's fun when we would submit to other festivals and you look at the categories. There's experimental, horror, and thriller. We don't fit into any of those. And obviously, I'm sure everyone here, it's the same thing. Yeah. And then Sick and Wrong comes up, and you're like, they understand.
I was like, and when I wrote in my thing, I was like, I don't know how wrong we are. We're definitely sick. So, it's definitely
sick. Maybe it should be sick and or wrong.
Both, yeah.
Had your other films played festivals before? Did Boned play? Yeah.
Yeah. So Boned, we actually premiered Boned, and I'm so proud of this movie, Boned. It was such a miraculous movie that we pulled off. So it played at the Toronto Independent Film Festival, which can be confused with the Toronto International Festival. It's not the same thing. It's the Toronto Independent Film Festival. So we premiered there, and we won the best micro-budget
nice.
Micro-budget feature, and all of the people involved in Boned. It was such a labor of love. We had so many just amazing people. Angela Landis produced that with me, and she's the star. Josh Randall's in it. Bai Ling is in it. Joe Mikan edited it. Just Rocky produced it. I have to call out their names because they all carried this movie on their back for so many years. So yeah, that was a real labor of love, and you all can watch it on demand right now. And it is called Boned. Some people are like, is that a porno? I'm like, she's a dog walker.
All right, well, show's over. I'm going to go watch a movie now. No.
Just because she's a dog walker doesn't mean it's not a porn.
Touche.
They're not mutually exclusive. Josh, let us know about your movie, please.
Well, I have to say, I feel like odd person out because my movie doesn't have any vomit in it.
Oh man!
I feel like I really let you all down. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that.
We need a palate cleanser.
But it's a good old fashioned Southern cyberpunk drug dramedy about a rideshare driver / drug trafficker who kind of falls into the subculture of people tripping digitized religious experienses.
So is that inspired by anything? Are you a share rider, or are you?
It's based on a true story. It's based on a true story. No, it's well, I mean, I have friends. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and it's very much sort of in that kind of city where it's a southern metropolitan city, but there's still that southern thing of it's very religious, and so sort of drawing on that a bit. But I maybe or maybe not knew a few Lyft drivers there who were doing a little something on the side as well that might have inspired that some.
Uh-huh.
But
so
not
there's
really.
No puke, but there's
watching
some drugs in there.
Yeah. It's definitely. I feel pretty positive. It earned its spot in the Hepped Up on Goofballs block, right next to the beautifully titled Richard Nixon Getaway Driver. Holy shit! I'm so looking forward to that one.
It's so good.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's very good.
I loved. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Neal. I just this is the first time I'm meeting any of these people, so I just want to gush at them about their movies. I loved the way you did. I loved your depiction of the future. People tend to, when they're making a science fiction kind of movie, they want to make these broad strokes. But it was definitely futuristic and still very, very relatable. It still looks like the world that we live in. You still have, she's driving in her messy car and she's got some shit lying around. It's not all, sleek chrome surfaces polished by nanobots flying through the air or whatever. It's it's very believable, very plausible, and yet still techie and cool. I don't know. I really don't feel of it.
Yeah, there's a shot very early on. I hate to spoil it for people, but it's early in the movie. There's a shot where there's a flying car that goes right overhead, and the camera pans down past this sort of cyberpunk cityscape and then lands on our main character in her 1999 Ford Escort. That's the world we live in. It's that Escort world. So
is that hard to take on, a futuristic, film? On a, I assume it's not a huge budget.
No. There's no budget. This was shot using sort of what was left over after rent from my paychecks. It was cheap and borrowed equipment. The crew generally consisted of me and one other person who was free, usually a member of the cast. And so it was really just about trying to find ways to kind of, background details and things like that I could then I used very sort of retro. I watched a lot of how they did flying cars in Blade Runner and things like that. I used a lot of sort of older almost matte painting and optical techniques, but just in After Effects. Mm-hmm. So no, it's very, very
really, the tech. That's just another tool to do what you want to do.
Yeah, very much so.
I mean, some people look down on using digital effects, but
and sort of mixing the techniques of the old old optical style, but in a digital way was a fun challenge. So, but it's not this is much. This still from Johnny Mnemonic is much higher budget than anything in my movie for sure.
That is an underrated masterpiece right there, by the way.
I'm saying, in fact, my movie's kind of just a Johnny Mnemonic fan film.
I had the orange VHS tape of Johnny Mnemonic. It had a translucent cover and an orange.
Yeah,
VHS.
where you could see the tape in his head.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
Trista, did you have a question for anybody? I'm sorry to.
Okay, I do have a comment. Josh, I haven't seen your film. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But Laura and Ezra, you guys were also talking about Strange Bird being so low budget and having a bare bones team. And I wanted to mention that I never at any time watching that thought of it as a low budget film. I just thought of it as a film, and I really went along for the ride. So I'm very impressed.
Thank you. That was so. I mean, when you look at sort of creativity as defined by the constraints, what we thought is okay, we don't have, you know, it was all out of pocket, and my pockets are very, very, very small. So
Same.
it was all just kind of like, oh yeah, I guess you guys, we had like tacos, and that was our big splurge for lunch.
It helps when you have an awesome DP.
Yes.
Who was our co-producer, Cody Wagner, who's made it look fantastic.
And he edited it as well.
Oh, I know.
You were
I do want some credit for that.
Wow.
He did some sequences that were out of my. He brought a plate.
Awkward.
What I wanted to bring up what Cody did. The director of photography, editor, it's the same thing.
And we had musicians in Scotland called Puma Jaw duo score it, and they were awesome. So
they were amazing.
With music and good cinematography, it's amazing what that can do.
Well, and the idea, the sort of hook that we had for people working on it is we worked with people who were, you know, who knew what they were doing, and the hook was that when we pitched it to Cody to come on board, is we were like, what we want to do is make something as absolutely cool as we can. We want to make it look as amazing as we can. We want this to look beautiful, but we don't have anything. We have no money.
Make it happen.
So what can we do? So it was that kind of challenge of like, how do you make something that looks beautiful and, you know, feels that way? And Cody, God bless him, he was like, yeah, okay.
You're a big part of why it was so effective as well, I think.
Oh, thank you so much. So I thank you. I appreciate that. I am an actor, and I wanted other actors to do the role. And my first actor, I pitched it to other actors, and for whatever reason they couldn't do it. One of my favorite actors, she's amazing. She was like, it's too, it goes to a place I don't think I can go. And right now. And I was like, okay. So I cycled through some actors, and then I was like, fuck it, I'll do it.
I knew the whole time she was going to do it. I knew. Like, you can try and get those people. They're awesome. I hope you get it.
But the thing is, like, I love working with actors. I really, really love it. The thing that was amazing was that I made myself do things I would never ask another actor to do. There was things that that really allowed it to kind of go. I mean, next time I direct, I will ask the actors to do those things, I think. That was a big lesson to me. I was like, oh, yeah. Well, why not just take dirt off the ground and smear it on yourself?
That's the Sam Raimi school. I mean, torturing actors is one of the best parts of being a director.
I always like, I don't want to do that to him. But
well, I'd love to see you in more things. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I can tell you. Well, I'll tell you later. The movie Jesus Freak, which came out in 2003. That was a movie from way back.
What's it called?
Jesus Freak.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and that was a feature I wrote and starred in.
Oh, great.
Back in the day. I played back when I was like playing high school.
So Jesus Freak and Boned.
Boned. Yeah.
That's a good double feature.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Very good. Dan, who did where did you get the cover of Old Day and Time?
The gentleman you see playing the Scotsman is actually a friend of mine, local musician. On the way from the venue of the kickoff party of the competition, we actually picked him up from the end of his shift at work, drove him to the hotel suite where we were filming, grabbed his guitar on the way. We filmed him performing that. We took 2 different takes, and that's actually what you hear playing. He knows the song by memory. One great thing is having that playing underneath covers a multitude of sins in the sound recording of the rest of the scene. So that's him playing, that's him you hear. And with a quick edit that we had to do for the time constraints we were under, That just gave us a lot of leeway for missing room tone and things like that. For the it also gave me a timing for the edit, so then you can kind of edit it like a music video where you can kind of edit to the beat. You got the verse, chorus, etc., that you can use to kind of structure the narrative to, and it's just kind of a shorthand for how you're going to structure the rest of the piece. So we kind of had that planned out in that drive when we were baking up the narrative and storyboarding and all of that. And like, we're going to use Old Lang Syne, call them up, tell them we're going to pick them up. And that became the backbone of the whole thing.
Yeah. I just like the contrast of, it's like this old kind of haunting song along with a lot of puking.
It's a beautiful juxtaposition. People ask me to go into more detail about the symbolism, and I think it's more fun for you to figure that out. And when we're talking about budgets, I just have to say this is probably the second most expensive film I made. We spent almost $1,000 on it.
Oh.
Almost. I had a producer who was willing to spring for the hotel suite to film the whole thing in. And that
Big money.
That was not cheap.
Yeah.
Buying it the day of when we decided to do that. I mean, it's a pre-dressed set.
And you don't have to clean it up. I always like shooting in hotels.
Yeah, and Michigan law, I mean, you're allowed to film in it. So yeah, we don't check that.
I don't know if I was ever allowed to film in the hotels that I filmed in, but I mean, I totally have permission and stuff. So don't look into that.
To get permission?
We double checked beforehand. So gotta make sure you're following the laws to some degree. So
I won't ask about budget, Brock, but I mean, Innocent Boy has a lot of production value. I mean, it looks great.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know, what the budget is, but making something, a short film that looks like a professional film, a feature film.
I was laughing because he said, did you say 1,000?
Yeah, we spent almost 1,000. That's, I think, the second most expensive film I've made.
Wow, I'm jealous.
Yeah, well, it's here in mid-Michigan, and it's non-union. We're doing non-union shoots. So if we were doing union shoots, that'd be another matter. So
yeah, we were non-union also. What made our film so expensive is we shot out in the country, about 3.5 hours from the airport, and it is a town of 1,500 people, and we shot overnight. It was 3 days to shoot Innocent Boy, and I met everybody.
3 days? You shot that whole thing in 3 days?
3 days.
Jesus.
I met everybody the night before. So, except for the cinematographer, Trista, who's amazing. She's about 1/3 my size and did it handheld. She was incredible, a little bit, and she just went for it. But everyone else, the cast flew in from New York and LA.
Oh.
We met the night before in Austin, and we had fajitas and margaritas and a read-through, and the next day we were shooting without any rehearsals. And I met the DP and the gaffer and the key grip on a tech scout. Outside of that, we just went for it. So we just ran and did it in 3 days, which was pretty amazing. And especially with all the gags and special effects, we too had vomit, and that took a while. And our vomit was cream and mushroom.
Was it all the same vomit?
It was all the same vomit.
Okay, we had to use 2 different vomits, one for each character, so they'd be distinct.
Of course.
Brag.
We needed something a little bit more creamy because it was like a drug withdrawal vomit, so we needed something that was just kind of like clear. And
yours was really nice.
Have you seen it?
I have, yeah.
Oh, cool, man. And the urine was apple juice. And then the milk that came out of the food, like this when it was stabbed, was almond milk. And,
I drink almond milk.
That's expensive.
Still, after watching the movie?
I don't think our actor will ever drink almond milk.
Yeah. I used it in my smoothie this morning. So.
It was. we brought in a pro crew from Dallas, and we put them in a small town overnight with no resources. There was nothing open. There were no restaurants, and there was only a no-tell motel. And so that ate up a lot of our budget. And the production value shows it was a $40,000 budget.
Oh, wow. Well, are you going to make that into a feature? I thought I read something about that or saw something about that.
You know, the feature part of it is we've been so blessed with the reviews, and everyone is calling for us to make it into a feature. And so I would love to do that. So, Neal, can I borrow $5-10 million?
I just happen to have it. I spent it on this bookshelf.
Spend it on the bookshelf. Uh-huh. But we would love to make it a feature. Actually, I would love to make it into a series, like a limited series, like 6 episodes. Go deeper in each character. It's a fun film. It's dark. It's big.
Yeah, I don't know if fun's like how I would describe it, but I enjoy the movie.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty dark. If I had to sum it up, it is the horrors of hopelessness. That's what it is. 1 hour, a gay brothel on the outside of town, and everything goes wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's such a beautiful movie, and it's so like.
It is beautifully shot, yet everything in it's grotesque.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also it's like completely anti-Hollywood. Like it's very, very queer. It's very, very Southern. It's very aggressive. I don't know. I'm so glad you submitted it, man. I'm so glad to have it.
Thank you. I did know, and if I may say, I don't want to take anybody's time. I thought when we started submitting, and like South stuff, like the South Texas Underground Film Festival, they originally got the rough cut, and so I was really, really shocked about that. I thought our festival home was going to be all of the queer film festivals, all the LGBTQ film festivals. It wasn't. I didn't know where my place was until all of the undergrounds were like, yes, more, yes, we love this. And I was shocked because traditionally these horror film festivals and these underground film festivals are run by straight guys. And I had no idea that they were into queer horror. And I had no idea that was my place. That's where this is my first narrative. I've never shot a narrative before Innocent Blood.
Oh, really? What do you normally do?
I spent all of my 20s working in production, like reality shows, like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, American Idol, Amazing Race, things like that. And then my 30s, I spent working in the corporate world, social justice, video projects for higher education and social justice at college campuses. And then one day it dawned on me, I was like 39, and I realized I had never made anything of my own. Never, not once. I've only made it for clients. I've only worked for other directors, other producers. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to turn 40 and not have a project of my own. And so I quit my job in New York. I was in New York at Goldman Sachs, and we were shooting with Facebook and Google. And I said, I can't do this anymore. And so I quit my job. And now I am a filmmaker, and I'm unemployed and broke. If you want to make your dream project, be prepared to be very broke.
I'm so glad your movie was so good. Otherwise, it'd be a tragic tale.
I can still afford wine, so that's a good thing.
Michael with Exit. So has it played for an American audience before?
Yes, it did in fact play at the South Texas Underground Film Festival, which is where it had its US premiere.
This year?
Yes, back in January.
I was there. I must have missed it.
I think I had a late night showing.
It's possible. Oh, it's probably possible because I think I went to some of the after party things. I feel bad that I missed it at the. But
No,
that's
don't feel bad.
because like myself, I didn't know it's about Brexit. Does it play differently for an American audience that you know of? I don't know. Maybe you don't know because you weren't there.
I don't know. We've had some really sort of positive feedback about it. I mean, I think some people are reading Brexit into it, and some aren't. I mean, I don't. For me, I don't.
Yeah, you don't need to know that to enjoy it.
No, not at all. And I don't think that it is a Brexit movie in in totality. I think that
sure.
In many respects, it is a sort of standard haunted house movie. It always was, sort of as far as I was concerned. And I think it kind of deals with that sort of standard idea of, is it the house or is it what characters kind of bring with them to the house? So I don't really think I don't want to put people off. You don't need to know about Brexit to be able to watch it. It is, I think it's something that we wanted to play around with sort of people's expectations but still make something which is, sort of quite British and not really, there was a discussion earlier about sort of genre and not wanting to be sort of pigeonholed by genre, and that is something I'm sort of quite sort of strong on with what I make. I don't really want to, just make a straightforward slasher movie or, a sort of, possession movie or something like that. I think the most interesting films and the films that inspire me are those that you really can't sort of pin down to a specific genre or, sort of a distinct narrative.
Those are what I enjoy to watch.
Yes, I need more vomit in my movies.
Someone suggested in the chat, though, for everyone out there who makes vomit movies, you're supposed to put carrot in vomit. Who knew?
That was actually producer Lou Nosbod, who is sitting on the sofa.
I found, Michael, that the selection of British history textbooks that you sent me to read before watching the movie.
It's really like when you went to see Dune.
Yeah. That cost us a large proportion of our budget to send those over to you, so I hope you read it.
I skimmed a lot.
Yeah.
You have a Cole's notes for some of the more difficult texts.
Well, good thing I have a degree in history.
Josh, quick, what's your background in filmmaking?
Well, actually, I make my rent by working in post as an editor and assistant editor. So that's my primary background. But then kind of tangential to that, I've been doing these kind of DIY run and gun things for the better part of the last, Jesus Christ. How old am I? Like 12 years or something like that since college. And in fact, a lot of the people who are in this are people I've been working with since we were all very young. But this is sort of the first thing I've really had time and resources to work on, because when you're doing that kind of no budget thing, it's coming out of your own paycheck. It's sort of budget is almost like you have to figure that out after. Mm-hmm. So I'm not even entirely sure how much money I ended up spending on this. I'd be surprised if it broke $2,000. But yeah, so I've done a lot of this kind of run and gun DIY stuff, and just having to.
Have you worked with your lead before? I mean, she nailed it. She was incredible.
Awesome. Yeah, Brittany Carleton. She's incredible. We were in the same theater department in college, and she actually we hadn't worked together because she was always doing her own thing. Like, she's a really accomplished director and actor herself, just working on her own stuff. And so she was always kind of like the person I was looking up to. I never quite felt like my shit was good enough to have Brittany in it, so this is actually, that was part of the excuse to make this, was to finally get to work with Brittany. She's great.
Yeah, she's incredible. She really nails it.
All right, so we're going to get to the next block because I know there's a lot of people still waiting here, and it's been great talking to everybody. So does everyone want to say quick, like, where they could follow you, or like not to your home, but online?
I'll drop a pin on my iPhone. And you can...
Well, we'll start with Brock.
Sure. At Innocent Boy Short Film, or at Innocent Boy Film. And we are streaming on Revy TV. So we're in 200 million households.
Oh, wow.
And we're also on TLA Video and Together Magic Movies. And we're coming to Amazon Instant and UK Film Channel. And there's more. Oh, Fearless. We're on Fearless TV. And more to come. Some big stuff coming.
Very good. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Stephen.
It's nice meeting you.
Thank you, Brock. Dan.
My production company is Exposure Film Foundry, and I'm pretty sure we've got, a Vimeo page and whatnot out there. I also run the Threadbare Mitten Film Festival here in town, and we'll be doing our stuff in September here. So more fun to come later on in the year.
Very good. And then don't forget the carrot note for any future vomit.
So real fast, I have, seriously, I've made 7 movies with vomit scenes in them. And we've gone through different recipes. The worst one was my effects artist. She asked me, is there any risk of this going into somebody's mouth for this scene? And I was like, no. Nobody's going to be swallowing this one. She said, oh, great. So I'm just going to use molasses and canned tuna fish. And so I was opping for that one. I was handheld. I was camera opping for that. And the lighting situation was all weird. Anyway, I had to get really close. So we did the vomit scene in this one take, and I got fucking hosed in tuna fishy molasses all over my shirt and pants. But we got the shot, so I was pretty happy about that.
I know there's a lot of people make stage blood or movie blood. Is there anyone that makes professional movie puke?
I don't know if anyone does, but Katie Gelhart is an effects artist who works with me, and she makes incredible vomit. She prefers steel cut oats to just Quaker oats, right? It's good for the textures. Anyway, she makes amazing vomit. If anyone wants to hire her, I'll give you her email address because she's incredible.
Very good. I heard it's going to be this year. Halloween is going to be the big deal. Everyone's going to be wearing puke. Michael.
You can follow us at Fausti Films, which is at Fausti_films, Fausti Fausti. We are screening in Stephen Stull Vision as of next week, and that is where you'll be able to see Exit at the moment.
Very cool.
And it's been great talking to you, Neal, and actually finally getting to talk to Stephen in person rather than just harassing him.
Right. Yeah, I've talked to you online too, so it's good to see you in person.
And Dan Kofoed has always been a big supporter of Fausti Films, so great to see you in person, sir.
Same, sir.
See, Ezra and Lauren.
I have a personal website, lauraleebahr.com. And then you can find Strange Bird on Facebook. There's a Strange Bird Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And you can follow Chris Kelso. He keeps the Facebook page going, so you can also follow Chris Kelso. And of course, we're playing at Sick and Wrong, and we're so excited. So that's the best place to find us right now is go to the Sick and Wrong website and get your tickets and watch all of these fantastic movies and
problems.
And watch our girl problems.
Very good. And Josh.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at TheDangerface, because Dangerface was taken. You can check out our see some of the films I've done at fuckgiantkiller.com. And you can check out Serious Matters at the Sick and Wrong Festival and the Hepped Up on Goofballs block, which I'm super fucking stoked about. Thank you, Neal and Trista. Thank you, Neal and Trista, for having us on here. And Stephen, nice to actually finally meet you instead of just watching you drink on live streams.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, guys. So if you guys wouldn't mind hanging up, and I'm gonna bring in the next people.
You guys,
I guess
guys.
I can hang up on you. I don't know. I feel rude about doing that.
Thank you.
Dan, I just figured out who you are. Great.
Somebody knows me now.
While you're bringing in the next block, Neal, I'm going to show off if that's all right.
Yeah,
I'm going to show off this. Oh shit, the video's all okay. Here, this is our Sickie Award. This is the Sick and Wrong Sickie Award. Giving out 12 of these this year in a bunch of different categories. A little tentacle and panties, but also we started giving out this guy. The Golden Tentacle.
Oh man,
this is the big one. Sweet. This is the one for the most quintessentially sick and wrong movie. We're only giving out one of these guys, but I'm pretty sure these things are basically the only reason anyone ever submits to Sick and Wrong.
Those are awesome.
I want to say Crime Exploitation has a pretty good trophy too. I won the They said an actual grinder,
like a sausage grinder.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. I was like, it's like multi-purpose.
Is it actually usable?
Yeah, it is. It's a real grinder. And I was like, all right.
Oh, hey. It's Seth Chatfield from Blood of the Tribbids, reminding you that you're watching Without Your Head.
So I'm still Nasty Neal.
I'm still
Nice to meet you.
Yes, good to meet you as well. And he's still Steven. We need a cool name for Steven. Scary Steven?
Snotty Steven.
Sickly Steven, I guess.
Sure.
It's not a very nice one, I guess. It'll work. All right.
Calling him sick.
Just sick Steven. Sicko Steven? Huh? Yeah.
That works. All right, so we have everyone introduce themselves and tell us what movie you're with. So we'll start with Anthony.
I'm Anthony Shepard. I worked on Cosmic Spaghetti.
Which block? I mean, I know which block, but you should say which block.
It's the Saturday morning cartoons, right?
Very good. Jay.
Yeah, I'm the director of Lifelike, and that's in Trigger Warning.
Funny note, Jay's movie is the primary inspiration for the Trigger Warning block.
Mm-hmm. And not to overlook anyone's movie, but after I watched Lifelike, I actually emailed Steven about it right away.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And
conversation starter for sure.
It is. Jono?
Yeah, Jono. I wrote and directed Nailbiter, which is in the bodily functions block.
Very fitting.
So good.
Edward here.
Hey, it's Josephine and Edward here. We are the producers and main actors for Make-A-Wish, and we're in the Family Matters block.
Yes.
Kid.
Hi, I'm Kid Tommy. I'm the writer, director, producer of Cold Blooded. We're in the Hepped Up on Goofballs block, and we have 2 vomits in our movie.
Very good, very good. The theme is continuing here. Jeremy.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Herbert. I am with The Thing. I made a bunch of movies with Thing in the name. I just tripped myself. The Things with the Glowing Green Eyes in the Scary Door block. And we have 0 vomits.
Man, I'm hanging up on you. No,
there's always next time.
This is the wrong call. You can leave me out.
And of course, Michael and Sophia.
Hi.
Look at that background there.
Is it?
Sexy Steven, I call him, but you know.
All right.
Michael said
that's off air.
But great to see you, Neal, Trista, Steven.
Thank you. You as well.
We have two films that were 3 films. Jesus. Sorry.
Sorry, I can reject a couple if you like. It's not too late.
Forget the background. Sophia's shirt's amazing, I have to say.
Oh yeah.
You can get this on Amazon.
We can.
You owe me $5, Neal. So
I'll
Pride.
Venmo you after.
I don't think we have any vomit in our movies, but Pride has ejaculate, which is kind of like vomit.
I don't know, but we'll say sure.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I don't know anything about male anatomy.
You should know a lot by now after shooting that movie.
Everything I know I learned on the set of Pride. So that's in the what the fuck block, right?
Trigger warning.
The trigger warning block.
The trigger warning block.
And then we, as a cinematographer, we helped produce a film called Shiny Diamonds. And
that's in the female problem. What's it called?
Girl Problems.
Girl Problems. Sorry, Girl Problems block.
Cool.
And then we also produced and did some work on Darling Pet Monkey, which I actually have no idea what block it's in.
That's in the Family Matters too.
Family Matters block.
Yeah, that's
very nice.
Yeah, it's a wholesome movie.
It is a wholesome movie.
It's a wholesome movie.
Like legitimately.
Yeah, that's the one family friendly film of that's its own block. It's just a 10-minute block. Just that movie, family friendly.
It's rare to have a heartwarming movie that also involves monkey feces.
Yes. The world needs more.
It's debatable. Josephine and Edward, you want to tell everyone about your film?
Well, our film is about a fiance who gets the best birthday surprise ever. I don't really know what else I can say without revealing too much of the story. But yeah, and I don't know, what else should I say?
The poster, I want to say the poster for Make-A-Wish, like after you've seen Make-A-Wish, the poster for it becomes really, really awesome. Like, just looking at the poster. Yeah, it all comes together after you watch it.
Yeah, so I mean, sorry.
I was just saying, had you worked with the director before?
No, this was our first time working with him. We reached out to him when we were looking to make the film because, you know, he's been getting a lot of, like his previous short that he had done, which was called Monday. It got a lot of attention and recognition, and it was just like really amazing in all of the steps that it was going through. And so we wanted to work with him, and he was really quick to join with us, which was amazing as well. And so we were just really excited to work with someone like him and, like, you know, see what he would bring to the table for our short and how he would make it come to life.
See, Anthony, it's probably hard to explain Cosmic Spaghetti with, or just, I should just leave it at that. I was just thinking it's short, but I think you could probably just leave it. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I've been trying to think about that this whole time. I'm like, wait, crap.
Yeah, what's your elevator pitch?
Well, the elevator pitch I actually just stole from The Godfather. I was like, let's just take this scene where he's explaining to Michael how to make spaghetti, and that's my film. There you go. It's kind of, you know, it's a social commentary on late capitalism and, you know, post-consumerism, I guess you could say. But it's definitely got a hidden message. It's very layered in there. It's like hard to find. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's not there at all.
Message.
I like that. Jay, can you explain Lifelike?
Yeah, so this one's a little bit hard without like revealing too much, but yeah, it's about this guy. He's got a real problem, and he goes to his therapist to kind of fix the problem. He's been in jail and other stuff, and yeah, so he goes to the psychiatrist, and she can't really help him. He's getting a little suicidal, so she suggests this very bizarre therapy which actually exists in real life. And yeah, so it's about sort of like the breakdown of that.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in a minute. I think I could do a whole show on that.
Yeah, that's what he emailed me about. Like the minute he finished, when Neal finished watching, and he emailed me and said, "I think I could do a whole show about Lifelike."
Oh, really?
I said, "Yup."
Which, by the way, Monday, Trista and I are gonna do a special show where we review all the shorts and features that we've seen from.
Oh, cool.
Jono, can you explain your film?
Sure, yeah. First of all, I see a sickie in the background of somebody else. So I have this proud It's from Bun in the Oven many years ago, but this is a prized possession here. So
I was talking about that in the first half. I was talking about how one year I just had a whole bunch of pregnancy movies, and Jono had one of them. It was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that one was a pretty big scale for a short film. This one, Nail Biter, very snappy, I should say. It's two actors, maybe a little snippy also. And same like the other filmmakers. It is hard to describe it because it's so short without giving it away, but it is about a woman who has cannibalistic cravings, but they're so deep-seated that maybe she doesn't even quite realize it yet. And she's on a date. She's on a hot date, but she's figuring out a way to fulfill her cravings without actually causing any bodily harm, and she does discover a way to do it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more in a moment. Jeremy.
See, the great thing is that I can't even say the name of my movie without giving away most of my movie. And it makes it easy to talk about. The Things with the Glowing Green Eyes are about things with glowing green eyes.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. I think there are a few on the poster if you don't believe me. I just saw it scroll past. But they do mean something. I like making movies where there's kind of a metaphor. If you don't pick up on the metaphor, it might just seem like a strange downbeat punchline to end the movie on. But they are part of the movie is that it is as annoying and straightforward a threat as just things with glowing green eyes that stand kind of far away and glare at people.
We just saw
getting cat bombed. I'm sorry. I'm getting cat bombed right now.
That's good.
Fuck out of here.
I don't think a show goes by where an animal doesn't pop up.
Hey, sorry. Just derailed everything.
Yeah.
My bad. My apologies, Jeremy.
That's fine, man. I can't compete with that.
Did the cat have glowing green eyes?
He just did a loop. Like, okay, now he's going the other way.
You need a green cat so then it won't interfere with the background. Kid, can you explain Cold Blooded?
Yeah, it's
definitely the most metal movie in the lineup.
Yeah,
this
it's
year.
a heavy metal. It's definitely influenced by like Shock 'Em Dead, Black Roses, Trick or Treat, all those deeply influenced. But it's a revenge gone wrong. So it's kind of a satirical look at what if you sacrifice your sanity and do the craziest thing you could possibly think of to get back at someone, and then they take it to their benefit. And you're still screwed over. So it's definitely from a woman's lens, and it's also inspired by the story of Lorena Bobbitt. I took some of that, those thematic elements.
Right.
But yeah, it's heavy metal.
Yeah, that's a good lead into Pride, I think. So, Sophia and Michael, can you give us an idea of what Pride is about?
Sure, it's inspired by like the way that religion is used to like protect perpetrators of sexual violence, and so we wanted to do kind of an abstract piece exploring, I guess, a revenge on that, or almost flipping it and using like Greek mythology and other things. It was specifically inspired by this one piece of radio that I heard in the 90s on a fundamentalist radio show that was on the station I did a show on before me. And I always recorded their show to like chop up and do collaging with. And they had this one piece about how like, it was a story of, I'm sorry for everybody, it's sick and wrong, so I can say whatever. But it's a story of this guy was talking about how his neighbor was like sexually assaulting his children. And he asked the minister what to do about it. And the minister was like, if you get mad at your neighbor, then you're like worse than him, basically. And it was the thing that I heard that made me the most mad in my entire life. So I held on to it since that was probably like 1993. And then last year decided to use that actual audio. So I had that audio recording and created a film around that. So that's what Pride is.
Yeah. All right, let's go. Josephine and Edward, besides acting in the movie, how else were you involved?
Is this working?
Cool.
Can you guys hear us?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. No worries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Acting and producing and mild script supervision. I think that was mostly all we really did for this short.
Well, that's a lot, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you did. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, but you're like, what else did you guys do? I'm like, I
no, I was just curious
Just to give a full story. So how it started was that we had our writer friend had a short film script that he wrote years back, and so Josephine was the one who approached him like, hey, I need to. This all started because we needed demo reel footage. It was literally just demo reel footage, just shoot it in some room and camera and just do it. And then he was like, yeah, sure. And he kind of like blew up the dust off the script. And he's like, here you go. And so that was earlier when we mentioned getting our director, Dintai, we just asked him out of few. He literally responded like 30 seconds later. He was like, yeah, I'll do your film. But I said, you haven't even seen the script yet. And he's like, I don't care. Let's do it. And I'm like, all right. And so he got on board. And so then the team was that. So I played a part as executive producer. and we were the co-producers, and we had another producer. So we had a whole Kickstarter madness campaign going on to raise funds for this, because it blew up from a demo reel footage shoot to an actual short film shoot with, like, you know, serious production with people that Din brought in. And we're like, oh wow, this has gone way beyond what we expected. This was not the plan, but hey, let's go with this roller coaster journey. And so here we are now.
Yeah, and it does have a really high production value. It looks great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. And I won't give away anything in the movie, but I do like the early reveal of the birthday present.
Yes, and that's, yeah, when you watch the film, you'll realize, like, you know, our third actor, who you see his face very prominently in the poster. I mean, he is the focus on the poster, but we couldn't.
I tried to walk around that it was a person, but yeah.
God damn it!
Stop talking.
All right, I'll stop.
Interviews
Spoil
are
everything.
The best, yeah, the most we could do for him is the poster.
Now, had you worked with him before?
Yes,
Or
I
you-
had worked with him in a play before. They hadn't shot like any theatrical stuff, but they did.
It was a play called Yellowface, and so it was a David Henry Hwang play, and he was excellent in just being that kind of guy, which I won't spoil once. God, I can't see so much.
If you see Yellowface, and you see our actor, you'll know which character he plays. There's only like one role that really fits him, and so when we were casting for the third person, we're like, oh my god, we need to use Roman, because Roman's amazing, and oh my god,
He was excellent playing a particular kind of guy.
I mean, he's good at many roles, but we wanted him to embody this role again. Also, his voice is amazing. Everything is just, listen, you can listen to him talk for days. But yeah, he delivered.
Anthony, who did the animation for Cosmic Spaghetti?
My partner Gerline does all the animation. She kind of created that thing on her own on secret. Like, she was just making these scenes, and after a few months she just gave me all these scenes and was like, here, this is some trash, just do whatever you want with it, whatever. And I came back with a film and was like, all right, here's a film, what are we doing with it? And she's like, throw it away, like bury it, what are you talking about, we don't do anything with this. And I'm like, nope, I'm fasting. So yeah, I kind of edited and did all the music and created this thing, and then she was like, oh no, you cannot just take this thing out, and created everything post credits after that, and was like, all right, well, this makes it more of a film. And I'm like, no, this makes it more confusing, but okay. I love it.
Let's see, Jay, I asked the people in the last one about was it hard to get people involved, and I think you're a really brave subject to tackle in a movie, and also brave for the actors to take on. Was it hard to find people to be involved in it?
Yeah, so that's definitely something that was a bit of an issue. So we started off with like non-union actors, and we got like a lot more people coming forward, but they weren't right for the role. And so because like this is the whole movie, we need somebody who can really sell the role. And so then we went through a casting agent who gave us a really good deal, and we were able to find this actor, actually, just because I messaged him over Facebook because he had like sent something in or something like that, and it was really like tough because I'd sort of like said, okay, I'd settled on somebody, and then 2 days later they were like, I don't think I'm really comfortable doing this anymore. And so, because there's a lot involved with the lead in the role, and so yeah, sometimes I just wouldn't get emails back, or I get emails back, I'm not comfortable with the subject or the film. So yeah, it was a bit of a struggle, but I'm so glad we had all that struggle, because we wouldn't have ended up with Richard, who was just amazing in the film.
Yeah, he's incredible. I should have mentioned this in the first half that we have here, but we actually have quite a turnout of Siki nominees coming to tonight's little hangout here, including Rich Juche, who was nominated for the Performance Award, the Mink Stull Award, for his performance in Lifelike. I don't want to give anything away, but he brings a kind of humanity to this character that's wow. It's hard to not pay attention to him during the movie.
Very lucky. Yeah.
Hard to not care. Yeah. And there's another Mink Stull nominee right here on screen with us right now. Josephine Chang is nominated for a performance in Make-A-Wish. That's it.
Very good. Jono, this might say more about me than the film, but Nail Biters, like, it might be the only movie that I watched that like actually kind of grossed me out.
I feel so touched. That's such a great compliment. Really gross films, but I didn't expect this one to be the one that got the reaction from people. But I've had about 5 or 6 people, friends of mine, or people who saw it elsewhere, say they had to turn away, which I wasn't expecting that. So I do find that to be a very high compliment for this festival.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the build to the payoff. Is like, you know, they're kind of like these people, and then something happens, and I was like, oh, I don't know, but it's also, I don't want to give away a movie, but it's a nice happy ending, I think.
It's all about acceptance, despite the other stuff.
Great. It's about finding someone who's cool with what you're into.
Yeah.
There's an effect that I want to ask you about, but like, I don't want to. I'll wait. I guess I'll wait for the Q&A, because the Q&A will assume that the people have already seen it. So I'll sit on it till then.
Yeah.
But you have the bowl. What goes in the whatever. Anyway.
Well, what's funny about the bowl, because of course I shot out of sequence. The bowl was way too full, and I actually had to get a visual effects person to empty it.
Like it had more than, say, 20 items in it.
Now everyone's definitely going to want to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Kid Tommy, what is it about hair metal or heavy metal that you're into?
Oh my gosh, I mean, I'm a member of the KISS Army, so definitely that's a big thing. But I worked at a video store, and they had the whole heavy metal horror shelf, and that was something that just every day, what am I going to put on for my shift where like 3 customers come in 7 hours? And I just kind of worked my way through that shelf, and kind of by the end of that, thought like, I want to make one of those. And I love like novelty musicians like John Michael Thor and like people like that have a shtick and have a costume and a character. So I wanted my character to kind of be one of those people. That would be somebody I would be into.
Yeah. It's a very fun movie. Has it played at other festivals before?
This is going to be the first one. It played, I threw a party to show it in Austin, Texas. It's been accepted to the Scum Dance Festival in Reno, Nevada. But that's going to be like on hold. Not sure what they're doing with that yet because of COVID. And it's been accepted for something in Berlin called Girl House Cinema. But this will be Sick and Wrong is the first one.
Oh, yeah. I was just wondering, have you watched it with people and what they thought about it?
Yes. I had the whole big local cast, crew, family, friends party, including 2 of the children actors who watched it and they loved it. So it's family friendly.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. Yeah.
Bring your kids.
Yeah.
Kids. That's fantastic.
Jeremy, what I like about the things with glowing green eyes is that's basically just all they are. They're just their eyes being glowing green.
Yeah. It was so that, I mean, it's mostly budgetary. The movie you watched cost about $250. And early on, I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to afford a guy in a suit, let alone multiple guys in multiple suits. What's something unsettling? So I went back to The Fog, and there's a shot in The Terminator where you just see red eyes on a shadow. I'm like, that's spooky.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like I tested them. My brother put the LEDs together, and then it ended up just glasses with this is, again, none of these are spoilers. This is the name of the movie. And they're just LEDs on wires right in front of sunglasses. And they look great on film. And then the first time I gave them to anyone on set, they thought I'd lost my mind. Because it looked like a low rent. I don't know if anyone's played Splinter Cell, but like the cheapest looking night vision Tom Clancy by way of dollar store you've ever seen. And I really had to assure people time and time again, like, it's fun, it's great. We'll add some fog. No one will know.
Yeah. And I'm from a small town, so I had that good small town feel where people are just sitting around talking about totally mundane things, which they kept getting away from the people with the things with the green eyes, just to talk about like the most useless things, which I can relate to in my time.
I see it. That's the smallest town thing, at least small town Ohio, is that you never talk about the serious issue, let alone one that everyone shares. No, it's the parking. It's, the cicadas came back too early, etc.
Right.
You've made such an imprintable movie. Like, everybody who watches this movie can project something from their own life that can stand in for the things with the glowing green eyes. It's so, I don't know, maybe I don't even want to ask you anything about it because I have ideas.
It's funny because, as I said, they do mean something, and I know I'm playing with fire by saying anything means anything, especially in a movie.
What is
with that
meaning
name.
Anyway?
What is the thing? But it does mean something that is a universal experience, feeling, emotion, what you call it, that I kind of discovered for myself as I survived the making of this movie. But that was kind of the hope, is that everyone can at least, one of those stories is going to make a lot more sense to somebody than the rest of them. And that's been my experience with people who have seen it. They'll point out one segment and be like, oh, I know what that feeling is. I'm like, yep, there you go. There's your green eyes.
Sophia and Michael.
Oh my God, Kat.
Pride is it's a lot different than a lot of the things you usually make, but at the same time, it's also similar because, social commentary and things. How did it all come about? Why was this something made?
Yeah, we were asked by this guy, Domiziano Cristofaro, to participate in a anthology film called Seven Sins that was supposed to be kind of like extreme filmmaking. And, I had to think for a little bit if there was something that I would be interested in doing. And Pride came to mind right away because I'm always interested in religion for some reason. I don't know why. I just like to explore the horrific impositions of religion on society. And so Pride made me immediately think of hubris and some of the Greek tragedy types of things. And so I started working from that to build this story related to this audio piece that I had. And so that anthology is in theory coming out, someday, but we got permission to take the film around. And it's definitely more extreme and more, it's not something that we would be inclined to make just on our own, without a reason for doing it. So we weren't gonna, we didn't plan to do fest, but then there was a delay on the anthology. And so we started taking it to a few places. I didn't really think people would want to watch it, but it's gotten an okay response so far. Not only a few people have walked out during it at festivals.
I walked out of my room.
Yeah, I try to tell people not to watch it. I'm like, you should all come to Sick and Wrong. We've got 3 films. You should watch 2 of them, and then maybe
just skip this one.
Skip the third.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah,
not that I'm not proud of it, but I just
I understand.
To protect them.
Yeah, after Michael submitted it, before I even he submitted it through Film Freeway, and he sent me an email or sent me a Facebook message right after, just saying, "I'm so sorry." What? And so immediately, that instant, I said, "All right, I have to watch this." And so bad.
Yeah.
The response has been very positive. I'm actually surprised. People, as people hear about it playing other fests or it wins awards, I have people at what I would consider a more traditional fest. A lot of the directors have reached out to me and said, I want to see this thing to see if it fits what we're doing. And I'm like, all right, I'll let you see it. And I mean, I would say almost all of them are like, yeah, we want to program this thing. We want to play this thing. So I'm surprised every time, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate getting the opportunity to bring it to an audience who's interested. I mean, this is a great venue because you've curated an audience who might be interested in this type of film. It gives me a chance to say the things that I want to say in a creative work, and not. I guess people are not unsuspecting when they see it. If they're watching if they're going to Sick and Wrong, they're not.
They've consented.
They've consented. Yes.
Right.
The trigger warning.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's family friendly unless your family is very different than mine.
Right. I watch a lot of weird things with my mom, but I didn't watch.
Yeah. I don't know if your mom would like it, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, it might not be up. But also when Michael sent it to me, he's like, "Don't make Trista watch this."
Yeah. Not that you can't watch it, but
right. I was confused. He didn't say, and you don't have to watch it either.
Care about you, Neal.
Yeah, whatever.
Care about your feelings.
Trista, did you have a comment or question for anybody?
Jesus, cat!
Comment.
Fuck! Get off my computer!
Oh.
Oh my god! I'm sorry. This cat is haranguing me right now.
It's a very big cat.
Yes,
he's a
he is.
badass. He's like
Giant
19.6 pounds. This guy.
Oh.
And he doesn't even have a tail. It's just all, and he's covering everything in cat hair.
Did he lose the tail? What happened?
I don't know. He was a stray who literally wandered into our house and then just kind of stuck around. So he didn't have a tail when he came to us. I think he's about to log me out of this thing. What's going on here, cat?
That's a good excuse.
Anyway, sorry. So yeah, my apologies. He's a bully.
It's
He's
totally
too big.
fine.
I live in fear of him, so I can't really.
Trista, did you have a sorry? Yeah, it is very cute. Very large, cute cat. I think.
Very large.
I did have a comment. And there's not much to extrapolate on really, but Kid Tommy, I really enjoyed your film, and then I was so surprised and delighted that you're a woman. I don't know if that's appropriate, but for some reason, it's just, I was surprised. I couldn't tell by the name, and I thought it was so awesome. I was really impressed.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is pretty asexual. My high school once sent my mom a letter saying, your son, Kid, was out today. So...
Wow, so that's your given name. That's very cool.
That's my Tommy is fake, but Kid is real.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never met a kid, is a weird thing to say.
Well, thank you. I'm happy you liked it.
Yeah, I really, really liked it. I liked all of the films, by the way.
Cold Blooded is up for the Rump Shaker Award, which is the sickie for the best music, or the most earwormy music in the movie. There's a lot of great music in this movie.
Where did you get the music you used?
So we actually had to change it. Our first cut that we screened was super curated by me, and I spent so long contacting all the bands, and I got all the songs I wanted. And then when COVID happened and everything got shifted to online, they all wanted more money for online play because I pitched it as just, it's going to play at some local independent festivals. So I actually went back and had to recut it. So the main theme is a friend of mine who is super talented, and he wrote that. So the one that Rex Komodo actually performs, that's original for the film. The rest of the songs that are in the current cut, it's by a band called Blind Taxi that I kind of just found by chance surfing YouTube, and got to talking to the guy, and he was into it, and he didn't want too much of my money. So yeah, so it's actually the second version, which I was originally sad about because I was really attached to the first songs that were with it. But I think it works. I think the new version works too.
Yeah. Josephine Edward, what was it about Sick and Wrong that you thought would be a good place for your film?
Guess I'll answer that question. Well, the funny thing is, when we were starting out the festival submission, we didn't even think it was a horror film. We thought it was a comedy. It was just a delightful comedy, good times. And then with Sick and Wrong, I think what drew me into it was when I saw the statue, I saw this trophy, and I'm like, I don't think our film, because I saw the previous films that played in your festival, and I'm like, do we belong here? I don't know.
We're like, it doesn't hurt to try.
So we tried. So
here
when
we go.
you accepted us, I was like, what the F? Like, so, you know, we're totally honored, but, you know, it was a trophy. I was just like, this is a beautiful work of art. And I'm like, and that was it. And I was like, and then, you know, as obviously time went on, you were, you know, I gave much praise to you. I was like, you're an amazing communicator, and that's rare for a festival. So it's just like, you led us along all the step of the way. So
yes, and we're very thankful for that, because oh man, it's like I feel like it's a lot to ask for, apparently, for someone to just let you know what's going on with the festival.
Hey, I want to thank you guys for reading all the emails I've sent you. I have not gotten 100% response on my emails on any email I've ever sent. So thank you for being so responsive.
How about Anthony? What was it about Sick and Wrong that worked for Cosmic Spaghetti?
Oh man, I mean, I'm surprised, you know, this film found a home anywhere, but if anywhere, it's going to be Sick and Wrong. I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of crazy and demented. And I mean, I just love Steven. He's a great guy, you know.
Anthony is the only person in the conversation, at least at the moment, who has made the trek down to sunny, oppressively hot Orlando to attend. He was there at our last live festival last year. His and Gerline's movie, Get Up Piero.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. I'm so thrilled to have him back.
I have a sickie over there somewhere. Should I go get it?
It's holding a door open or something, right? You know,
he's got it in the safe.
Some papers down.
I would like to make it to a Sick and Wrong at some point in time.
Please, you're welcome.
I'm glad I'm not forbidden from being there.
Well, assuming humans ever gather together again in the future, you're certainly welcome to come.
Jay, have you had a problem submitting the movie anywhere? Like, has any place or even if do you know where to submit your film? Because it is a very different movie.
Yeah. I didn't really know what the film fit into when we first when it was done. And so we submitted to, they have this thing in Canada called Not Short on Talent. And they take a bunch of films and then they'll take them to Cannes, or they'll take them to, what's the other one? The Clermont-Ferrand. And so we submitted to that, and we actually got in, which was great. So they took our film there. So I figured, okay, I'll apply to all kinds of different festivals, because I was like, it's a little on the genre side, but it's not really genre. So we could try, the non-genre festivals as well. But we've really had a lot more response and more genre style festival. We got into Boston Underground. They haven't actually had their screening yet, but we got. They were supposed to be in March, and we had one in Quebec as well. That was the genre section of their shorts. And then we got Detroit as well. This Motor City Nightmares. So yeah, I mean, it was tough trying to figure out exactly where, but once we started realizing okay, the genre people are responding, especially on the underground side, a little bit more to this film, we're just okay, let's try and submit more to that.
What did you think, Steven, when you first saw his movie, Lifelike?
I was, first of all, I was kind of shaken. It's definitely a fucking heavy movie. But my very next reaction on the heels of that was I was so thrilled that he had submitted it, because one of the problems I have trying to explain what Sick and Wrong is to people, I think the filmmakers who have gotten into Sick and Wrong know what the feeling of the festival is. But one of the problems I have in trying to explain it to somebody who's never been to the festival or never been to a film festival at all is every time I talk about it, they end up thinking, oh, it's a gore porn, right? That's what it is. It's a gross horror festival with lots of, and I'm like, no. So I love when a movie like Jay's comes along because there's nothing, there's no severed heads, there's no penises getting vomited on, there's no, the upsetting part, the challenging part of watching Jay's movie goes on inside your head. And it is very challenging, and it does serve the Sick and Wrong's mission. Like, I want to make people this is a sentence that has a lot of asterisks on it, but I want to make people uncomfortable, and this is a movie that does that, and it does it without requiring any kind of it's certainly a great looking movie, but it doesn't require any kind of like visual weirdness to evoke a reaction. So I was really thrilled to have it, because it means this is probably a selfish view, but the fact that Jay submitted this movie to Sick and Wrong means that I must be succeeding somewhere in trying to communicate the mission of the festival.
Yeah.
At least to somebody out there.
I think the movie makes you question your opinion on the subject, whichever side you're on.
Yeah, it's not
giving too much
question.
away what it's about.
Yeah.
And it's not, and like I was saying, with the first group of filmmakers, and these guys are all in the same category. Like, Jay's movie is one of those movies that does not hold your hand and explain what you're supposed to take away from it, right? There's no spoon feeding here. You have to, as an audience member, you have to walk away from this movie and decide what it means and how you feel about it. And I love that. I'm just a complete sucker for movies that don't cram it down your throat. Here is our message. This movie means this, Sorry, I just scared the cat away. I succeeded in getting rid of the cat.
Well, now you know how to.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Move the cat next time. Start slamming your hand. But Jono, what was it about Sick and Wrong that you thought this is a place for a nail biter?
Well, I had submitted in the past. I've seen a bunch of Sick and Wrong films, and I like that Steven and the whole festival embraces what most people think is disgusting. That's the whole point, I think, of the festival. You can find beauty in really disgusting things, and my film, for example, I try to shoot it really nice lighting, because there are some gross things that happen. I like that contrast. But just the beauty in the gross. Is what
Jono, is Bun in the Oven public anywhere?
Yes, that one's public. Yep.
Okay.
That one is.
Go watch a Sickie winner, everybody. Go over to Vimeo or wherever it is and look up Bun in the Oven by Jono Freedrix. It's the most beautiful and like elegant movie about, well, I'm going to say it's the most beautiful, elegant movie about its topic, but I don't think I've ever seen a movie about its topic before.
But one of the actresses is now a big star, MJ Rodriguez. She's a star of Pose.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I got her before that.
Even though I said that was the only movie that like kind of grossed me out, I do honestly think it has a nice message in the movie. Which I don't want to give away the movie, so.
Is it what's the everybody is somebody's fetish? Is that it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, definitely about kink and fetish on some level, for sure.
Yeah, it's about accepting. Let's see, Jeremy, what did you think? Sick and Wrong was right for things with the glowing green eyes.
To be honest, I don't know that I did think it was right for it, but at Genre Blast, I met Steven for about 30 seconds. One of us was on the way to the bathroom. I don't remember who. And in that 30 seconds, he was very gracious and kind, considering the circumstances. And I was like, you know what? I was aiming to move down to Orlando anyways. I'm like, I think in my submission letter on Film Freeway, I did apologize at the end, where I'm like, if I wasted your time, sorry. I don't know if this is sick or wrong. And I think for anyone who's seen all of the movies, I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say it's probably the softest in terms of objectionable content of anyone in this, at least in this block of interviews. So I was very glad that it did make it. But now I kind of understand, especially with what Steven said, why it did make it in. Because it is, in a way, it does make you uncomfortable. I think the more you read it. I could be wrong. Steven, why'd you take it?
Well, I don't want to like don't correct me if I'm wrong, because I kind of like my interpretation of it in my head. But the way I felt about the movie is, I like movies that make you kind of rethink all the things you accept as a given about the structure of the universe, right? And there's something almost kind of like Lovecraftian about your movie. Like it makes you feel like, or me, like whatever you think is actually fact about the universe is probably not true. That there's stuff going on behind the scenes, behind the underneath the skin of the universe that you just can't be aware of. I find that kind of feeling unsettling, and I love anything that's unsettling. Also, it was just good. Like, you got a lot of really great human performances in there. Morgan's incredible. I don't know why he's still hanging out with you. He should be famous somewhere.
You don't know how many times a week that I tell him that. Stop returning my calls. But yeah, I'm going to go with your answer. That's exactly what the movie's about. That was wonderful.
Awesome.
That's what I always tell Trista. I don't know why she puts up with me. But. Kid, what did you think about what was Sick and Wrong? Why is that right for Cold Blooded?
Yeah, okay, also, Steven, I just want to say this fest was my, white whale. When I got in, I ran around the house. I was so happy because this was really the one I wanted to get into. My search for festivals off the bat, I'm like, okay, there's blood, there's dying. I guess I could put it into a horror fest. It doesn't incite the emotion of fear, but I guess those people might like me. But as I was kind of submitting to those, I felt like this isn't really right. It's not really a dark, creepy, scary film in any way. So when I found Sick and Wrong, I was like, that's where I belong. This is the place for me. And I always wanted to go on the E.T. ride at Universal Studios. I really wanted to come to Orlando.
Ulterior motives. I like it.
Well, there was a slight ulterior motive, but yeah, look where it put me. But no, I was super excited to be excited.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry that
you're missing E.T.
That you're missing E.T. Like the E.T. ride, I never I think I went to Universal when I was a little kid once or something like that. But I went on the E.T. I've been going to. Let me get to shoot about this. I've been going to Universal's Halloween Horror Nights for the last 13 years or something like that, and I never went on the ET ride until last year. And I don't know if you guys have been on that ride. That ride is a fucking acid trip nightmare. It is insane. Like, most of it takes place on ET's home planet, and ET's home planet is I don't know. It's like Hieronymus Bosch and H.R. Giger came together in a pot and H.R. Pufnstuf animated it or something. It's fucking nuts. So it's a real experience.
Hey, you just told me I wasn't interested before. But.
I just want to say, because this is one of the few times of any given year where this expertise comes into play. But Steven already knows. If you're friends with me on any social media, I write about Orlando theme parks all the time. Everything about the ET adventure, everyone here, go watch a video of it. Every last animatronic, every last piece of paint was approved by Steven Spielberg. It was entirely his dream. Keep that in mind.
So it's like the Sick and Wrong of amusement rides.
When the first time I went on it, I was so mad that I hadn't been going on it the last 15 years. It's so wild.
So I guess you guys already talked about this, but Sophia and Michael, what was it about Sick and Wrong that this is the place for Pride?
We also met Steven at Genre Blast, and he told me he did this extreme horror festival, and to me that's it's a trigger word that I won't like it, because usually the midnight blocks and stuff are very rapey, and I don't appreciate a lot of that style of bro-y horror. So I was like, whatever, dude. And then he gave me a tote bag, and the tote bag was amazing. And I was
it's all about the free gifts.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And then you know, his movie, The Jerry Show, was there, and I went through so many emotions watching The Jerry Show, because at first I was all like, I'm very offended by this movie. For like the first 5 minutes, I was pissed off. And then by the end, it had totally won me over with the humor, and I was like, all right, well, this guy, like, he's really nice, and he has good humor. And it's like, I started to understand the mission, and then seeing how progressive you try to be with the festival online with, like, you know, fighting people that are mad about, like, female and stuff. And so just like I grew to like understand what the fest is, and I think that's really important.
I can't emphasize this enough that we were at Genre Blast and somebody's like, that guy runs a fest called Sick and Wrong, and you think like, guy who has his head shaved from Florida running a fest called Sick and Wrong. I'm like, this is gonna be the fucking douchiest. We're like assholes from various cities, I guess, and so apparently we're just dicks.
We're coastal liberal dicks.
So my assumption right away was like, oh, there's this dickhead edgelord guy from Florida who's like runs a fest that's gonna be horrible shit. And then, you know, I met him and I'm like, all right, he seems okay. And we saw, you know, and everything I thought initially was 100% wrong. And
it's nice to be proven wrong, right?
Right, yeah.
Once in a while.
Yeah. We often discover that we're the assholes, and again, this is another
I accept that.
Yeah. But no, it's really, I said this on, because Steven had me on his, a thing that we did a Q&A about, and I said it there, but I think it's like, extremely important that, especially for a fest like this where you're pushing boundaries and you're doing kind of that you're working, not just accepting a wide range of things, but working actively to create equity in this context, and like inviting female filmmakers, inviting LGBTQ filmmakers, and saying like, this is a fest where you might initially look at this and think you're not welcome here, but you are very welcome here. And I think that's like really amazing work that you've done. So that like makes us just want to be part of it, and very excited to, you know, to have films involved.
Thanks. I'm going to get all worked up like I did on that live. That even though I don't have the excuse of drinking tonight, but I really try to foster that. I really like Sophia. You said broy, and that's exactly what I don't want this thing to be. I have found that to be kind of a permeating feeling across a lot of genre communities, and I'm not a big fan of it. I, you know, had a movie of my own get into a festival when I was early on making movies, and I went to it and I was so happy. Hey, I'm in this festival, and I get there and it's just like, it's all super like explicit sexualized violence and rapey murders, and I'm like, okay, I'm not. And in some ways, I'm actually kind of glad I had that experience, because it helped inform to make sure that I didn't try to create that kind of feel with my own festival when I decided to make one. So I don't know if any of you guys, any of the filmmakers are super broy and want to do chest bumps and beer bongs, whatever. I hope you don't feel unwelcome, but that's not really what I'm shooting for with Sick and Wrong.
I hope you make them uncomfortable too.
Okay. Yeah. I'll keep trying.
Just as the films themselves, though, I do like that there is a good mix of different themes and different vibes of the movie. You know, there's some just silly stuff that you have fun watching. There's a lot of stuff that has like a serious message, and there's like there's some really gross stuff. So it's a good mix of stuff. And some of them cross between all of them. Did Michael and Sophia, did anyone else, when you filmed your Pride, was there anyone else there, or was it just the two of you?
It's what we call a closed set.
Yeah.
But like, we didn't have any money to make that anthology piece, and so it was really just like us in our apartment, and I embroidered that. That took me a few days to embroider the embroidery that's in it. So we shot it over a couple days because of the embroidery, but yeah, it definitely was not a movie we would have shot with anybody else there.
Right.
A lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But
Did you try to cast for the roles?
No. I wouldn't. Honestly, I wouldn't ask somebody to. I mean, I know many of you haven't seen it, but short version is that there's some unsimulated penis stabbings that I wouldn't ask somebody else to do. I wouldn't even ask myself to do it.
At my exploitation, I couldn't go with Michael, but Michael went. And at the Q&A, they asked him about the prosthetics for the movie. I was at home
They're very lifelike.
It was important. I mean, the thing is, it was important. I'm sorry, I don't mean to steal and sidetrack, but it was important to me when you're making a film. Maybe this is a spiritual idea about all these films. When you're making a film that's trying to have a strong, type of get a strong response or interact with an idea that's complicated or difficult for people to take in, I think as a filmmaker, if you're an actor, and if you're involved in it in any way, it sometimes feels right to push your own experience to something that's uncomfortable or difficult, to make it, feel authentic and like you've given something to this movie. So the movie was, hard to make, and I'm sure from what I'm hearing, all of your experiences, many of your movies sound like you have things like that. And I think it's important, that you're putting out real heart and honesty in what you're doing. And if you're expecting somebody to look at something that's difficult to watch or unpleasant to watch. So that was my feeling about it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Josephine and Edwards, have you had other films at other festivals?
Okay.
No, this is our first one that we were like, hey, let's see if we can survive a project together. And if we can, maybe we'll make more. So, yeah.
So have you seen them? Have you watched a movie with other people yet?
Yeah. We had a screening at...
Sorry, we just lost somebody here.
Acting school. Are we talking about that? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we had a screening at his acting school. Everyone there was very supportive. So we were like, oh, you guys are a little biased. You're just being nice. But, it's nice to hear the good responses. And then so that was the only one we really had one where with other people that we were present with. Obviously, once COVID hit, we haven't really been to any festivals. So we don't know what everyone else's reactions are.
We got, in terms of what we cook in reception was the one we had at the Portland Horror Film Festival, in terms of the reviewers who saw our short film with the blocks. They liked it. They were like, oh, it's like our top favorites. I'm like, great. But it's one thing to, even though it's as biased, even with my acting school, is it's just to actually have the room full of people and just be like, did they like it? Did they laugh? Did they gasp? Did they do all that? So it's it's a very interesting time we're living in where we can't quite have that.
So do you plan on making some other things together?
Oh, all this talk, plenty of things we'd love to do, but we'll see when we actually do it or whatever. Just in terms of
not necessarily the best time, I guess, right now. But.
Yeah, I feel like actors, a lot of times we just talk about all these projects, or just anyone in the entertainment industry, a lot of chatter, oh yeah, I'm working on this and this and this and this, and then you never see it, and you're just like, what happened to your projects?
Where can people follow you to see what you guys are up to?
Oh, well, on Instagram and Facebook, I'm SlowJoJoJo. And we can actually type in the thing.
Oh, yeah. We'll rename it. And then for my also all my social media handles it's Cinnabon Monster. Cinnabon is that company you find in airports and malls. Cinnabon Monster. We have
What's the history of that name? I'm sorry to ask. But.
Oh boy, I'm just obsessed with that pastry product, and so I decided to market myself with it.
All right.
I feel like maybe we'll make another Sick and Wrong film in the future that involves Cinnabons, and I think Cinnabon might maybe sponsor it. We'll see how generous they are with that.
The Cinnabonster, I like it. All right. Sorry, I talked over you. I think you were about to say somewhere else they can follow you.
Oh, I was
maybe
just
you weren't. I don't know. But, yeah.
Make-A-Wish has their own social media, so it's just Make-A-Wish Film, which you can find on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Yeah, make sure it's not the charity organization.
We are not the charity organization.
Fair enough. Jono, will this be the first time watching? Well, I guess you're not watch with people, but the first time having the film at a festival?
I was just in the Lower East Side Film Festival, which is in New York, where I live. Also a virtual festival, so I wasn't able to see it with an audience. But I sort of did a test screening in a Brooklyn mini festival, I guess, more like a bar with a screen in the back. But it's always good to have an audience. So that was test audience was good, the first test audience, and yeah, got a nice response. You can get a lot. You can learn a lot about your film just by watching it with others and just feeling the vibes that are coming from them.
And where can people follow you?
Jono Freedrix. It's not as original as the other names, but it's like my name.
Well, you can work on it.
At Jono Freedrix. That's my Instagram. That's my.
Maybe you can get a Jono pastry out there and
I'll
tie together.
Yeah.
Very good.
I can see the sun has been setting on a bunch of people as we've been doing this.
Yeah.
Anthony's harder to see right now.
That's how I tell how much time's passed with Trista, because she's natural lighting. She slowly gets darker as the show goes on. I'm in my basement, so. By the way, John, are you working on anything currently?
Yeah, I am. I have a writing partner in Vancouver, Canada, where I'm my hometown, and we have a feature screenplay that's been optioned. So we're excited about that. Being optioned doesn't mean it'll be greenlit, but it's still a necessary step. So that is what I'm hoping will come to fruition. Excellent. Oh, and of course, I just did a 2-minute short film, which I think I'm going to throw right online. Almost done. It's about dating while in the coronavirus era.
Excellent. Interesting. That'd be interesting to see that. See, that's a theme in your films.
Yeah.
Anthony.
Yeah.
So where could people follow Cosmic Spaghetti?
Well, we do Zimtemo is the name of our studio, Zimtemo. If you Google that, you can find us on Instagram, Vimeo, and we have a website. Yeah. And
are you a big fan of spaghetti?
I do love spaghetti. I can't argue with it, you know?
Mm-hmm. It is hard to argue with spaghetti. Interesting.
Yeah, we're still doing Get Up Hero, which was our film in last year's Sick and Wrong. We're still doing that. It's an Instagram choose your adventure.
Oh, really? That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, season 2 is going strong right now. So
I'm going to check that out. Cool. And are you working on anything currently?
Mostly just Get Up Hero. That's the main thing we're doing. We have a few things we're working on that we're writing, but Get Up Hero is the only thing we're actively animating and releasing right now.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
The next time Sick and Wrong is in a live place, I'm going to try to make it dog friendly because I want to meet those kids.
By the way, Stephen,
pop up.
How does the so if you get your ticket with 25% off with the code word headless, by the way.
That's right. Don't forget. Without your head, listeners, you go to sickandwrongfilm.com and you can find the link to buy your passes. You get 25% off headless, lowercase, all lowercase, one word because it's one word. Headless is the discount code for 25% off.
How does it work? So someone gets their ticket.
So once you get your ticket, there's a link that'll take you over to the movies page. For the movies, you can watch the movies anytime you want between July 6th and July 12th. The movies are going to be available that entire week. The live stuff is scheduled, right? So you can tune in live, but if for some reason you can't tune in at the time, once a live event happens, it's going to stay on the festival site for the rest of the festival.
Okay.
Also, if you don't want to buy a whole pass, you suck, but you can buy tickets to individual programs. There are tickets available to individual programs. Just click on that individual program, and there's a button there where you can buy a ticket for $6 if you just want to watch one movie or one block of shorts.
Yeah.
But all the live stuff is free. All of the live stuff is completely free.
Is there any interaction with the viewers if they watch the live?
So I have to use Zoom. And it's going to interface with the festival platform.
Right.
So there's a chat function on the festival platform, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to see it through Zoom. So that's something I'm going to be finding out Monday during the first live thing.
Right. But the other people can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. You get, the viewers can chat with each other during the lives.
Yeah.
I think.
In theory, yeah. If you know each other, you can instant message on another platform.
Yeah.
Kid, where can people follow you and see what you're up to?
Yeah, so we pretty much are just going through an Instagram page right now. So it's instagram.com/coldbloodedfilm.
Excellent. Are you working on anything currently?
I'm writing something. I'm working on a wrestling film.
Really? I'm a big wrestling fan. So.
A magic pencil in the men's room of the YMCA.
Oh, okay.
I'm sold.
That old story.
I'm sold.
Writing and figuring out if it's going to be good enough to then actually make. Yeah, that's my quarantine project.
What does he do? I don't want to ask too much. I don't want you to give away too much of the thing. What does he do with a magic pencil?
Oh, like beats up his enemies. It's like a big,
he uses a foreign object. Like hiding in the tights. I see.
It's very empowering.
Yeah. I think Abdullah the Butcher back in the day actually did use a pencil to stab people. I'm very old, so I know a lot of old wrestlers. Jeremy, where can people follow you?
On just about every form of social media,
all right,
including Steam and Goodreads. I'm at D-Day Films, just DDAYFILMS. And there's also a page on Facebook that's Dangerous Days Productions, and that's also us.
Excellent. Are you working on anything currently?
Birthday.
I'm sorry, talk over your Steve.
Oh, sorry. D-Day is my birthday. Sorry.
Oh, well, happy birthday in advance.
Yeah, well, that's why I picked it.
What incredible foresight.
Man, I've been buttering you up for about a decade now. I've been writing a lot. This last movie took something out of me, and so now whatever I actually direct next, I really got to want it. So I'm writing things along with my co-writer Wolf Stull until something seems right.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Jay, where can people follow you and or the film?
Well, I'm on pretty much Instagram, Facebook, and the film is at Lifelike Short Film on Instagram, and then they have a Facebook page where you can follow us as well.
And are you working on anything currently?
Yeah, we're working on a feature now, not of this, but like something different. A little bit more on the comedic side, darkly comedic, but yeah. So that's been optioned, and we'll see if it gets made. We're hoping. So, yeah.
About Lifelike, what do you plan to do with it after the festival run?
We're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But we will be putting it once all the festival runs are the whole thing's done. I definitely want to put it somewhere online for people to see. I feel like it's unfortunate we're not able to do as many live screenings because of the situation, because it's very uncomfortable being in a live screen. I had one, and it was very uncomfortable, and it would be nice for them to have access to it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie that warrants like people to talk about it afterwards, I think.
Yeah.
Sophia and Michael, where can people follow you?
I
believe it's right here. Yeah.
We're everywhere. So our production company is called Launchover. So launchover.com. You can find out everything that we're up to. And then just our names are on all the socials.
Yeah. Michael has a blue check on Facebook.
Yeah, verified.
I got really good at memes. I got really, really good at memes.
Mr. Blue Check over here.
I know. Yeah, I had somebody like attack. I mean, I don't care that I have a blue check. Not that exciting, but Steve was like mad at me about a discussion, and they're like, "Oh, Mr. Blue Check." Like, I don't think it grants me authority either. Like, it's not a big deal. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Apparently, you take it very seriously.
I like that the mohawk now matches the dog as well.
Yes, I definitely I bleached my hair to match our dog, who is coughing in the background. You can probably hear. He's a little sick right now, but he's okay. But yeah, we're on social media under our names on every platform, and we do lots. We're very stupid everywhere. So you can, if you like stupid things, then
I do actually. That's why I like both.
I know that's why we're friends, Neal.
Right.
We both like stupid things.
The dog has a fascinating internet presence as well.
It does.
Our dog is named King Ghidorah after the Godzilla, the golden Godzilla monster. He's a little under the weather right now, but here he is. We got him only a few. Sorry, this is a way off topic, but we got him only a few weeks ago. A few months ago. How many? 3 months? We got him 2 months. 2 months.
No one could keep track of time at the moment. Yeah.
Time is meaningless.
He's an old man. He's an old man. We found out just recently his owner had died, and then he was shuttled around. But we took him in, and he's so he's a little bit of an old man, but he's like our favorite thing that has ever happened to us.
He's King Ghidorah the dog on Instagram and Facebook.
I love him, and you both seem so happy with him. It's very nice.
We can't ever go to anything again because unless it involves me. Luckily, we're not allowed anyway right now. So.
Right. Even for other reasons, not because of the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm actually bad. But yeah, no, I fully support a festival that allows dogs to.
Yeah, I vowed to Anthony that I was wherever 2021 Sick and Wrong takes place, it's going to have to be dog friendly because I want to meet all your dogs.
Yeah, we got 2 of them.
Bring cats.
It also has to be disabled friendly because one of the dogs is in a wheelchair. So.
Oh.
The Cinnabonsters want to know if they could bring their cat.
Well, this guy's given me a pretty bad impression of cats, but maybe I should meet some other cats and remind myself that they have their
Michael
virtues
got
too.
he has the gold hair to match your dog. Did you remove your tail to match the cat?
I don't want to talk about my tail on the public right now, if that's okay.
Fair enough.
I was kidding. I don't have a tail.
Really? Well, yeah, I know. You removed it to match a cat, like I said. But,
that's right. Solidarity.
Michael and Sophia, are you working on anything currently?
Nope. That's a leading question. That's a leading question.
I know.
We've been filming the dog a lot.
We're in the middle of a couple features, actually working with both Neal and Trista on projects. So one is a sort of mockumentary that's called The Once and Future Smash. It's about 2 guys who played the same character in a 1970 slasher movie, and they have like a rivalry now. So that's on hold for the moment until we're allowed to film the remaining half of it. But so that's our main thing that's kind of in progress, I guess, at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a lot of people interested in involvement in that.
What a great poster.
Yes, it is. That is all it is at the moment. A great poster.
No, we've shot.
It's like 50% shot.
Well, it's complicated, but it's probably like 75% done. So
you could do that. What was it? That James Spader show on some fucking network where, like, for the last episode, half of it is just like animated. It's just like storyboards, like animated storyboards.
We've had these discussions already.
Sure, of course. The Blacklist. That was it. The Blacklist.
In the film that we hadn't quite decided how we were going to shoot them anyway, so some of them definitely could be animated.
In the script, the original some of it was animated, but now we're like, we'll just animate the rest. I don't think we're going to do that.
We have some quarantine ideas of things to do. We'll see.
All right, very good. All right,
I've never wished that I could draw any harder than I have during this fucking quarantine. If I could draw, I wouldn't need anybody. I could make... anyway. Yeah, you're lucky, Anthony.
If you draw people, they can't make movies, though.
Yeah, but you got somebody there who can draw, who apparently just hands you a bunch of drawings and says, or a bunch of, like... Yeah, a bunch of animation says, here, make something out of this.
Yeah, I'm lucky I'm necessary here.
Very good. Sick and Wrong, looking forward to it. And Trista and I watch a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to review that on Monday. I think that's at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific, and all the other time zones. You can figure that out. We'll try to keep it spoiler-free, but there might be a little more spoilers in on the show here tonight, I think. But we'll try to keep it spoiler-free, because it'll be right before the festival.
Oh, my God. What the fuck?
And I appreciate everyone coming and doing the show tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming out, everybody. And Everybody in the first half, if you're still listening, thanks all of you guys for coming too. And Trista and Neal, thank you for having me.
Definitely.
And Kat Gandalf the Grey, thank you for nothing.
Your cat's adorable.
I love the cat. It's very large.
He's very large.
True.
He probably does.
That's how I value people or things. They're very large.
They're very large.
Trista, did you have another comment or anything before we wrap up here?
Congratulations, everybody. Neal and I have had so many discussions about how impressed we are and blown away. So, Stephen, truly, like, you've curated an amazing program. We've been, we both go to a lot of film festivals, so we're just really impressed by it.
Thank you so much. I feel really fuzzy and weird inside hearing that. Thank you.
No, sir. Honestly, it's great stuff, and everyone here had great stuff that I saw. I think I've actually seen everyone's film here. So yeah. It's been good.
And remember, if you're listening, Headless is your discount code, 25% off. Please come watch some movies with us, or just watch all the live stuff for free. You can decide after you listen to some people talk about their movies or something. But yeah, starting on Monday.
Yeah, July 6th. I'm there. Opening night.
Oh yeah.
So go and support. I know it's a weird time, but we have to support independent filmmakers and creators out there. So if you can do it, go out there and watch all this stuff. It's sick and wrong. It's gonna be a good time.
Normally there'd be a big blowout catered open bar party the first night of the festival, but it's gonna have to be BYOB this year. Sorry, everybody.
I've got my unsweetened seltzer, so I'm ready to party.
Hell yeah. Listen, unflavored LaCroix is like the only soda I stock in my fridge.
Mine's a Poland. I'm not as fancy as that. I just have Poland Spring, but it's gonna do. All right, thanks everybody for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank all of you. Thank you very much, Trista, Neal, Anthony, Jono, Edward. I thought I'd do this faster. I can't do this faster. Josephine, Michael, Sophia, Jeremy, Kid, and Jay. Thanks everybody for coming out, and all those people in the first half I already forgot. So.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And thank you, Stephen.
Yeah.
For doing this.
Thank you,
Stephen.
And Neal and Trista for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And thanks everyone for watching too. Just thank everybody. Thanks, guys.